Once again, we have a special guest with us today, Lilly Behbehani, who is part and parcel of us living out what you see there. That's the homepage of our website. What's good for the least is good for the whole. Picture of Ron and Diana sitting in the storage room a couple of years ago. That's been featured on our website for quite some time now. So Lilly, if you can come forward. Lilly is a co-founder of Here2Help, and she's a journalism student at the University of North Carolina, and I looked at her website, and she said that she's passionate about telling stories. So we're here to tell your story and reverse the role, and I'll be interviewing you in a way. So Doug, if you could drop the slide, and we can see Lilly here. And I just want to ask you, Lilly, at the beginning, how did Here2Help get started? Why was it founded when the pandemic began? What motivated you to be a part of that?
So growing up, my family really instilled the need to give back to the community and always be there to help others who might not have everything they need and the things that they require to just live a comfortable life, to have the basics. So we would constantly hear stories about my great-grandmother who helped people, and she had an organization in Iran where she would help those who were homeless and she'd provide for them. And then my parents turned and made me and my sister do the same here. We'd volunteer at Wider Circle. If there was something on the listserv, my sister and I would do it. And then in high school, my sister and I had the opportunity to help Syrian refugees, so we were involved a lot with that. And my senior year of high school in March, I remember sitting in the journalism room of BCC, and we were all talking about how there's this thing called coronavirus coming around, and my teacher was saying how we're definitely going to be shut down, and you know, it's going to be abrupt, but we don't know when we're going to come back to school. And from that moment, I was thinking, what's going to happen to students who are on free and reduced meals in Montgomery County? If this program stops, how are they going to get food? How are the families going to get food since they rely on it on the weekends? And that moment, I created a food drive, and it actually started here at Bethesda Presbyterian Church, where the food was brought here. And when the schools were shut down a few weeks later, we were advertising Here2Help for families in BCC mostly. Like, this is what you can get. If you sign up, we're able to help you. And from that moment, Here2Help was born, and it's been going since 2020.
I want to go off script a little bit and say, how many families have you served over the last 3 years? And it's going strong. And just give us some figures. What's going on?
So over the last 3 years, we've served over 11,000 families. Over the course of 3 years, those are repeat families, new families all around. And we've given out over 300,000 pounds of food. That's non-perishables and perishables that we get donated by the community. And our perishables get donated by Bethesda Farmers Market, so everything really comes full circle here.
So 11,000, you said? 11,000. So what's the situation like now? You've been doing this for 3 years now. You've been going off to university. I know your mom, Hetty, and Ben over here and others have been picking up the slack, not much slack with you, of course. And Ron Grimm and our own congregation has been very faithful. What's happening? How has it changed over the last 3 years? What, in terms of the clientele, in terms of what's needed, what do you see?
So it's really shifted from, we started out with very few requests to all of a sudden seeing a very large spike as expected at the beginning of the pandemic. And from then, we experienced a really high amount of requests over the course of the years. And as we realized that my mom and I couldn't run it out of our home alone, we needed more help. We enlisted the help of community members, and they started to help, and they had different sites that food would come out of, and Bethesda Presbyterian Church was one of those sites. So without Bethesda Presbyterian, it would be much harder to get food out to families, and it served as a location where families could pick up. At first, we only had a delivery system because during the pandemic, all the food banks in this area that offered delivery stopped doing it because they were unsure of what the situation was. But that's where Here2Help really filled the need, because it was something that people could get out of their house to do, something no contact with other family members. They just got in their car and they dropped off a bag. From that moment, we've shifted to pickup only. And it comes out of the Presbyterian Church on Sundays in the afternoon. Families come to pick up the bags directly here, and it's made by our shift leaders like Ron, who help put together bags. And we're continuing, like when restrictions were lifted, we experienced less families requesting, but now we've experienced a sharp uptick in families. So we're experiencing a lot of requests of food, and a lot of families are coming to us for help still.
And many of them are coming from up county, Montgomery County, right? Yes, and they drive here and pick up the food each week. Now, tell us a little bit about Harvest Share and what the role of Harvest Share with Here to Help.
So Harvest Share helps us collect the farmers market food. My mom and I used to go at 1 p.m. to the Bethesda Farmers Market and carry crates of food there ourselves. But luckily, there was an organization called Harvest Share that was doing the exact same thing that we were doing, and they reached out to us and they began to help us. And now they come and they bring us perishable food and they weigh it, and it's plentiful food. It's amazing food. It's things that you would buy for your own families. It's very fresh, and it's amazing that they're helping us out and giving families the same things that we would buy for our own.
And Doug, if you could put up that slide, the next two slides that show Harvest Share here. So this is not cheap carbs here. I mean, you were giving out a wide variety of foods, and it's amazing what they do. And if you can go on to the next slide as well, this gives a great, that storage room is you're still using that, right? Right? And you can see some of the 2020 photos here as well as 2023. Finally, you have, what is your role now with Here to Help? Now that you're a college senior, a university senior, how do you stay connected with it? You do. I mean, you're here this summer, and you're doing an internship, I believe, where Bill Reinsch is, right? The Center for Strategic International Studies in Communication. So how do you balance that? How do you do that? How do you stay connected?
So when I first went to school, I was home for the first 2 years of my college experience. And when I first went to school, it was a little bit difficult to adjust, but thankfully my mom is very big support and she's been there from the start. So there was no catching up for her to do. She knew everything. So she took on a very big role with Here to Help, and I did a lot of the admin stuff. I would do a lot of things that you didn't need to be on the ground for, like training our dispatch operators who basically reach out to the families and tell them, we've received your request for food, you can come pick it up, or you should be expecting a delivery. So that's been a great help. My mom has been a great help. Everybody here who's helped with Here to Help, getting the food out, packing the bags, picking up items, that's been what's been able to have it continue to function. And without them, it wouldn't be able to operate on this level still. I'm still here over the summers. I'm able to help anytime, anywhere, any place. And since it happens on the weekend, I'm able to do it outside of work, so it works out perfectly right now.
Now, I'm going to be dangerous, but I want to open this up for one question from someone in the sanctuary and one on Zoom. Anyone here in the sanctuary have a particular question to ask Hetty at this time? This has been happening right beneath us now for over 3 years, 11,000 families. Put you on the spot. Any questions? Anybody on Zoom have a question? Unmute yourself if you do. Ben has a question. Ben, come here. Come on up. Ben Schwartz is one of the volunteers, and you've been here a little bit, haven't you?
Yeah. I'm also Lily's boyfriend. I've just been helping for a little more than a year now. It's really a great organization. But my question for you, Lily, is what are some of the biggest challenges you face, like on a weekend when you're giving out food, but also maybe working with like restaurants or the farmers market when they're giving you food? Just would like to hear a little bit about that.
Thank you, Ben. So I'd say one of the biggest challenges right now is we have a very big need for volunteers. We are experiencing a lot more requests than we have expected, and we have volunteers, but we are always looking for more. Any and all help, it benefits us, and we're able to work, and anything really helps. We just really need volunteers, and without them, bags won't be able to be created. A high amount of people who come to pick up at one time, it's easier to help, and it's a very relaxing thing, and you're able to talk to your fellow volunteers and get to know new people. When dealing with restaurants and other organizations that donate to us, it's really about outreach and how we can sell ourselves to them, and telling them our story really gets us there, and they're able to donate bags, food, fresh items. We get a lot of pastries from Fresh Baguette just around the corner. They donate all of their bread to us that's left over from the day that they bake that same day. So that's been going on since 2020. And all of this stuff is really maintaining relationships and fostering relationships and being there with your community.
Thank you so much for your service in the last 3 years. I know as many of us have seen you online and there's a couple of Zooms we did. It's great to see you live and in person right here with us in the sanctuary this morning. So thank you very much. Thank you, Colin, who always brings milk, and Ron, who always brings when do people volunteer?
So they can volunteer. We need volunteers. We have slots that open from 10 or 11 a.m. on Sundays, and they go until 3:30 to 4 p.m. on Sunday afternoons. So it's an hour-long slots, and you can sign up for any slot that you want, and you can sign up on our website, Here2HelpMC.com, and we have a section with the sign-up genius that you can put your name for.
So that's here, Here, number 2, help, mc.com. So go ahead, Doug, if you put back this up. What's that? There's another. There is a question. Okay. Somebody on Zoom had a question.
Yeah, I just had one quick question. If you have any sense of why there's been an increase in need in the last few months, are you able to kind of see a pattern of this?
So from being in the church and doing the pickup slot and helping with that, we've been able to see that a lot of the new requestees are Afghan refugees, and a lot of them are coming to Here to Help, whether they're now getting on their feet and they've realized there's a need for food, and a lot of them are also social workers that sign families up for Here to Help because they know it's just an easy, convenient system that they don't have to apply. They don't have to give any information more than just their address, their family size, and any special requests that they have. So it's a system that many rely on because it's not one that you have to give so much information about yourself. So that's where we've seen most of our requests coming from recently.
Thank you. Good question. Once again, volunteer hours begin at church time and go on until about 4 p.m. every Sunday. See Ron, see Lily. Again, the address is Here, number 2, Help, MC for Montgomery County. Here, number 2, helpmc.com to sign up to volunteer or sign up through our church. Or see myself or Ron for that. So thank you so much, Lily.